All right, as promised, I'm back with the homework answers. This is lesson 4 still, talking about answers on the homework. I figured out what F is. F is the number of servers in the cafeteria. That was the one I couldn't remember. Sorry about that. So C divided by L. C is the amount of classes per lunch, and L is the amount of lines per lunch. And you'll notice that there's lunch both on top and bottom, so you can cancel those out. So basically, you end up with the amount of classes per line. So because division, like I said, you'll have something on the top be something the same on the bottom, therefore you can cancel it out. Once again, I'm not writing the answers down here. I'm basically talking you through the answers because I don't want somebody to just go to the end of the video and copy everything that I've written down. Second question, we have the amount of classes per period, and we're dividing that by the amount of workers per line. And those can't be divided because nothing on top and nothing on bottom basically are the same. So that really doesn't really make sense. If you take the amount of classes per lunch and you divide that by the amount of servers per line, if it was servers per lunch, it would have made sense. But since it's servers per line, it doesn't make sense. So the second one doesn't make sense, but you can just write out what it is. And then the third one, written down on top, F is the amount of servers in the cafeteria, and L stands for the amount of lines in the cafeteria. And what you end up, if you did do that, which it does work, you would get the amount of servers per line. So that one does make sense when you do divide it. That one can be done because lunch is on top and on bottom. All right, so now talking about this one, total beverages served in the cafeteria per day. So that would be NB times P. And the reason why it's NB times P is because that's the number of sold per lunch, and you're multiplying by the number of lunches is going to give you the total amount of beverages sold per day. That's how many beverages sold in one lunch, and then you're multiplying by how many lunches there are. Like in Francis Scott Key, there's 3 of them. Let's say there's 200 in each. That's 600 beverages sold per day. All right, so that just makes sense. So this one can be tricky. And keep in mind, before I go any further, there are other ways of solving this, but I'm going to do 5 times I times M times P. And I'm going to break that down for you. Now, why is it 5 times? Because it's per week, and there are 5 days in a week. Well, actually, let me go backwards. Let me start with I. I represents the amount of items sold per minute in the cafeteria. If you multiply that by M, the amount of minutes during a lunch period, that will give you the total amount of items sold in one lunch period. So that's I times M. It gives you a total amount of items sold in one lunch period. If you multiply it by P, the amount of lunches per day, that will give you the total amount of lunch items sold per day. But then you have to multiply by 5 because it's items per week. All right, so I'm going to eliminate that out so nobody just skips up to the back. And then you get L times W times I for the answer on the last one. And if you write it out, it would be lines per cafeteria times servers per line times items per server. And you know what? I'm actually going to write this one out like I just said. So that's lines per cafeteria. Like in Francis Scott Key, that would be 3 lines per cafeteria. Actually, I just talked to Mr. Umar, and I think they're making a 4th line in front. Then that would be W is servers per line. All right, which is usually 2 because one person's giving you the stuff and the other person's checking you out. At least here at Francis Scott Key. And then the last one we got I, which is the amount of items sold per server. All right, now what you're noticing is we've got lines and lines, cancel. Servers and servers, cancel. What are you left with on top? Items. What are you left with on bottom? Cafeteria. So if you did all this and you did L times W times I, you're left with items per cafeteria, which I believe is what they asked you. The average number of food items served per minute in the cafeteria. All right. Thank you very much for watching another homework installment. Hope this helps.